Embarrassing performance. Nathan Jones has some serious questions to answer. Welcome back to Where the Addicks Talk for myself, Luke, and today we've got Dave, Timsy, Alan and Steve talking all things Charlton. Let's get straight to it, Steve. That was a real tough match.
It was a shocker. There was not one positive that you can take from a performance like that. The players let themselves down. The manager massively lets himself down. He's got some real questions to answer. But from the first whistle to the final one, we were second best all over the park. There was literally not one player in my mind did anything right yesterday. We could have played on all night, and we still probably wouldn't even had a shot on goal, let alone a score. Scoring any of them. The goals that we're conceding are dangerously poor. We are shockingly naive at the back. We're playing players that are just not fit for this league now, and we are really worryingly thin on a squad. This is dangerous times for Charlton.
Very, very well said, Dave. You don't expect a game against Millwall for you to have to get the players rallied up, but there was nothing there, was there? There was no character, no spirit, and if you're wearing that Charlton badge and you're playing a team like Millwall, you need to show some character.
Yeah, sadly, the players weren't up for it. You know, they weren't up for the fight, and I don't know why. I don't know how you can put your finger on it, because you should be up for your local rivals. You know, a game you haven't won, you haven't beaten Millwall since 1996, and it's so important to the fans, and they all know that. I think Nathan Jones knows that. So you know, there's something not quite right. Nathan Jones puts his hands up and he says, you know, this, you know, it wasn't good enough. You know, it was boys versus men today, and it was. Nathan Jones, he's going to come under a lot of pressure. I think this is obviously, it's either going to make him going forward, or it's going to destroy his career at Charlton going forward. It is make or break for him now, in all honesty. You know, but then, you know, on the other side, I, for one, you know, in my opinion, it's like, well, who's actually better than him? Because, you know, who else is out there? And in all reality, we got promoted through the playoffs for a good run in the second half of the season. Got some young players in, got carried away the start of the season. I just think it's a massive reality check for us in the whole picture of it. And I think, you know, with a bottom three budget in the league, we're 17th. I don't think it's time to panic. But it's make or break.
Yeah, interesting. Timsy, it's nice to see your head on your shoulders, mate, because there was some serious head loss throughout the game against Millwall, wasn't there? So I'm glad to see the head's back on the shoulders, mate. It was a frustrating game, wasn't it? To concede 4 is embarrassing.
It was the performance which was more concerning than anything. Look, I don't think we had really expected to go there and win as such, but we expected a performance. We expected some people to show up and actually like try their best. And we had some little tiny spells in the first half, and that was it. And everything sort of came from TC when we were attacking. And then half time we changed him to a left wing back. The starting lineup was questionable from the off as well with the midfield. It's just you can pick. I could literally probably spend the whole 20 minutes just picking holes in that one performance. It was that bad. There's literally no positives from it at all. For me, I'm sort of like I'm basically at the point where I feel like a change is needed, but we'll get into that a little bit later, reasons why. But there's a lot of rumblings going on behind the scenes and stuff about player falling out. The post match interview with Lloyd on Richard Corley's podcast, he said there was some home truth said in the dressing room straight after what needed to be said. So and we have witnessed it on the pitch as well. Players are starting to go at each other now as well, which is not good at all because the team's not knit, the team's not together currently. and it's kind of showing now in performances. We're just it's finger pointing now.
Yeah, it's tough times is when the team needs to come together. Obviously, it followed a loss against Derby as well, so that's two losses in the week. Alan, what is your opinion, mate? Is Nathan Jones, has he run his course? Is it time up for him? What's your feel, mate?
I'm very 50-50. If anyone knows me very well, they know that I'm quite a very much Nathan Jones man in. From his days at Luton, I was advocating for him to get the job, and we saw what he can do, getting a group together of lower confidence team people and bring them in together and so forth. I gave him a lot of leeway with the left wing back situation. I persisted with him at 3 at the back. And as everyone knows, for me, I don't think ever since that Southampton loss, we have never recovered. Yes, we picked up some points here and there, but we're not the same people. I mean, same group of players in the same team. He keeps referring back to, obviously, you know, we're going to be a different animal, wait till things get past the Middlesbroughs and all the other games and so forth. And then we're expected against like the Norwiches and the Oxfords to really show up and hammer teams. And let's face it, we beat a very poor Oxford side that obviously sat their manager straight after. Blackburn, we had 3 points in the bags and just decided at half time to throw it away. But it's how he reacts in terms of he hasn't changed it. The fans can see that 3 at the back, we've got 4 left backs effectively that can play in the football club, and we only got one that can play 45 minutes. That sort of sums up, to say, the recruitment. We thought it was good and we thought we had all the covered spaces, but I don't know. It's very much, I think if you asked everyone, it'd be very much a 50-50 split on where they goes. I would personally, I'd like to see the board really go and back him. You either back him or sack him now. Because if you don't sack him now, you're going to get a couple of players in the window, give it a couple of weeks and he's gone. You're going to get another manager and he's going to get a group of players, low on confidence, etc. And we've got some really, really important games up. I preferably would like to see us back him, get a couple of players in some very key areas, which we'll go again a bit later on where we need to go improve. But I think back him for now, because I don't really think there anyone is out there that name comes to mind where you could say, like Timsy said, I'll sack him. Well, who'd you go and get?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Especially this time of the season, during the transfer window, it's hard, isn't it? It's if you like you said, it's back him or sack him. If you're gonna keep with him, you need to give him all the tools, or you need to get rid quickly to get someone else in. But yeah, time's obviously at the essence. Steve, something that I keep seeing on all the forums is his Nathan Jones' naivety, especially with tactics, with the way he sets his team up. Is that something that you feel needs to change?
Yeah, he does. I mean, the fans can see it. It's been said on TV by presenters and pundits and things when we've been on the TV. We're a predictable unit. Like, teams know how to play against us. It's been apparent to everyone apart from Nathan Jones' peers that TC is not a left wing back and cannot do that role. And bless him for trying, but he's just not up to that job. And we've played him time and time again. Now, the Edwards injury has absolutely hammered us down that side early on in the season, but it might not all be on Nathan Jones and his tactics, but the whole upper management team should have been doing something to make sure that role's been adequately covered from the secondary at the 1st of January. Now, we've got some kid in from Liverpool who ain't played all season. He didn't look anything to me against Millwall. He looks like it's just a desperation signing that we're just trying to fill numbers. And he's now got to mix it up because we are getting hammered week in, week out by teams. We are going to be struggling. And the next few games are going to be brutal. If we don't pick up points, I think we're done. I think if we the next three, 4 games, with the couple of with the Stoke and the Portsmouth games getting thrown in now for mid-February, we've got to pick up points in some of those games. Otherwise, we're done. And like Alan was saying, I think I'm just about on the 51% of me is saying keep Jones for the minute. But if we don't pick up a decent number of points in the next few, I think we've just got to roll the dice. And while I appreciate the argument of who is out there, sometimes you just have to take a risk. and you either go with someone else internally, a Jason Pearce or something. I'm not suggesting, but I don't think he's the answer. But you then look outside, and there should be people within the club who are now seriously looking at what is available out there and who could we bring in that maybe us fans don't know is available, but should be doing their homework and seeing who can be the next Charlton manager. Because for me, if we go down the season and Jones is still in charge, that's a massive failing, and it's his tactics and it's his team selections that is the cause, and he is 100% responsible.
It's a stubbornness, isn't it, Steve? That's the thing that I don't get. It's the stubbornness. We can see, as I said, I've put up with it. I'm a big fan of his, and I've put up with this three at the back. But playing players, like you say, that can't fit the role and are not good up. Let's face it, it sounds like that. Maka is not. He had 6 good months, but he's not even a top Champions League One defender for me. He seriously isn't. I don't know what he's things, but you can't keep playing without position. And it's a sanity thing, isn't it? It's doing the same thing over and over again.
There's people who doesn't matter how they play get in the team the week after, and it drives fans mad. And you can see there's 3 or 4 that just seem to be his favourites, and other people who have done very little wrong can't get a look in elsewhere. I think we all know the players like the likes of Apter who started so well and then just disappeared off face of earth. Now this comes back to all the who's fallen out with Nathan Jones. But if he can't manage players, that's his job. It's like if he can't manage big personalities, if you can't manage people, then you're not the man to do a job, and you shouldn't be working at a championship level club.
Definitely.
That goes like with the falling outs. It's the one I'm hearing is Doc, like club captain. All right, he's not been great in the team or whatever, but the rumor is that he's fallen out of NJ and is on the way to Wickham in this window. And like having the club captain, which he's been fronting, speaking, so forth, and he's not been in the squad the last 2 weeks. And the sound coming out is that he's fallen out and he's off to Wickham. So,
Dave, do you feel like Nathan Jones has it in him to get the team back together? If there has been these falling outs, if there is disruption within the change rooms, do you think Nathan Jones can change it around and can get the team together?
Well, yeah, it's becoming a bit of a trend with him, unfortunately, falling out with certain players or sticking loyal to players. You look at Alfie May, he's got something to say about how he was treated and told, you're not going to be the player that I'm going to go forward with. Although he finished top goal scorer for us that season in a mediocre season. And then, and even like, I don't know. I just think whether there is a proper balance at the club. We've got Hilton, who's been brought in as a sort of makeshift coach, of a directive of organising all our set pieces, and it just hasn't worked. He's learning the role. He even admitted that he's learning the role. And Rodwell, a lot of people think he steals a living at our club. He's a player who turned around and said to Dobson, "You're not a championship player." Yet he's doing pretty well at Wrexham. Can Nathan Jones turn it around? Well, it depends if he's got the whole backing, and he needs to have a good hard look at himself. He did admit after the game, he's always very honest in his interviews. In his interview, he said, I take full responsibility. That was down to me. And, I have been loyal to some players, and I've got to have a good, long, hard look at that. So, anyone's got a possibility of turning it around. I guess we're going to find out.
The player's confidence is rock low, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the issue, especially after some really back-to-back defeats, etc. Do you Alan, let's go to you, mate. Are you starting to fear relegation? Do you think that's something that you're getting sucked into that area now?
I mean, I did that thing over Christmas for you guys, didn't I? I said, if you're conceding way too many goals, we've got a set pitch coach who I looked, funny enough, He left about a couple of weeks into the season, and then obviously Danny Horton's come in, and since then we have not been exactly the same team. Curtis Fleming's his number 2 assistant, obviously, and Curtis Fleming's an international defender for Ireland and had a Premier League career. So it's not like we haven't got people that defend in that coaching thing that know how to defend. You know what I mean? So something's not clicking right there.
Yeah.
I said we needed to look at that, and that hasn't cleared up in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, against Derby as well. You're talking about like those set pieces. We had so many corners against Derby
We're not jumping
in the last 10 minutes, and we were clueless. You know, going forward in attack as well. We've got 5 forwards on the pitch against 10 men, and none of them were dynamic enough to like drop off or make a run, come deep, try and mix it up a bit. They're all just standing there in the 5-yard box, thinking, "Oh, it's going to fall to me from these corners." I just think, you know, we know it's naive because he hasn't been a set piece coach. So I think we need to look at
some stuff.
I mean, the infrastructure.
I listen to a lot of football, and you look at the best people around the world. You had Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola. There's a reason they change their coaches and assistants every couple of years. You've got different voices. You don't want the same person saying, "Yes, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, yes, Mr. Jones." They want someone to fight back and say, "I don't think that's right, mate. I don't think that's right. I don't think that excellent things." Because at the moment, he's got a lot of buddies around him. Whether that's right or wrong, it can obviously think. At the moment, when it's all rosy, it's brilliant. But when it goes bad, you start looking around, and but yes, I think we are looking at relegation because yesterday was like the Norwich performance. It's flat as anything. You should be up for it. And as I said, I'm trying to take the anger out of it. Good job we film this on Sunday nights as opposed to Saturday after the game. Because if you take the anger out of it, everyone's going to say, "I want him gone, want him gone, and gone." Let's look at the perspective. If we went to Middlesbrough yesterday and got banked 4-0, okay, against exactly similar team to Millwall in terms of where they are, there'll be a lot more, and the left back starting his debut, etc. Like Nathan Jones says, you can get Ferguson in there. The new guy hasn't defended the cross well. He's let the cross go in. Okay, I'm sure. Obviously, you can go for every single goal. There's a mistake in it. Burt's jumped down the defenders. No one shouted for Ramsey at the last minute to say, "Leave the cross that's coming in. There's no one around you." He's headed it straight to a Millwall player. That Nathan Jones, you can hammer it home as much as you like. You can get at Ferguson in there. If they're not willing to take responsibility on the pitch and work as a team, at the moment we just look a bit very disjointed. And as I said, ever since that Southampton game, we were a very high, aggressive, intense pressing team. And I think now because they've been spanked really hard in terms of performances, they're too scared to press and do what they're used to because they know that if they press too hard, they're going to get ping, 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 goal. Well, we'd rather see a lot of aggression and a performance of fighting rather than sit back and just still lose 2 or 3-0. It's not.
Yeah,
you know.
There's something you said in that, Adam, which is like one point is like clear as day is someone shouting for Ramsey. Like I don't see Thomas Kaminski talking at all to the defenders where Mannion used to. There's no commanding of the box from the keeper. Like Thomas Kaminski he's getting the nickname of Kamikaze instead of Kaminski at the moment. It's some of the keeping, like he's a brilliant 1v1. You probably wouldn't want a different goalkeeper, but everything else, the distribution is absolutely shocking. Some of the worst I've seen since Phillips. Like sometimes the ball don't even make the halfway line.
We're talking about distribution, Timothy. I sit right behind the goal, and against was it Derby? Sheffield United, they're pressing us high, and they wouldn't let us play out. And I can see Lloyd Jones and Kaminski talking to each other, and that's why you hear if you're watching it on TV, they're shouting and moaning and stuff like that from the fans, because when they do play out, they went to press it, and they end up getting lofted anyway. You might as well just kick it straight down. And the argument is, from Kaminski's point of view, is you're pinging it to the smallest bloke on the pitch in Kelman. We had Addicks next to him. Yeah. Why isn't it going right instead of left? It doesn't make any sense to me.
There seems to be no leaders across the whole pitch, though. It's not just that area, but you expect your goalkeeper to command these box. And that does not happen. And one thing we really need at the moment, and this is why I'm sort of calling for Mannion, is that someone who could just take that pressure off by just catching the damn ball. I mean, it's such a simple thing, but if you know you've got a keeper who's going to come and claim them crosses, it just takes that little bit of pressure off the back line. But at the moment, the keeper just doesn't communicate. He doesn't know. He doesn't. He seems to be in no man land when the ball's sort of like in between that sort of between the lines, and we just get caught out. And it's it's across the whole pitch. Like there's no one shouting. There's no one communicating. There's no positivity of like sparing anyone on. It's just like at the moment, it's one goal I was in, heads down, and let's just try and get to the dressing room.
Yeah, it's a very, very frustrating time. I think let's all take a nice deep breath. And now we're on to Leicester away. So, Dave, I'm going to throw it to you, please, mate. What is your score predictions for a away game with their manager's just been sacked? They're going to expect a new manager bounce, possibly.
Yeah, they've got a week to prepare for that. So, someone's going to have a few days to get across what they're trying to do for that game at Leicester, and so are we. Prediction wise, it's going to be a tough place to go. You know, they're not in a position that we'd expect them to be. Obviously, nor does their board because they've just sacked the manager. So it's going to be a tough game. You know, if we get a result out of that game, I'd be surprised. I'd be happy based on our last couple of performances, even if we did come away with a defeat, like a 2-1 defeat, but we actually played really well and played as a team, you know, and the performance was up. It is that, you know, that's the reality.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's move on to our A to Z feature. We're on to the letter M. Steve, please take it away for us. Who's your letter M for Charlton?
Yeah, so Charlton there's actually quite a plethora of players that we've had starting with the letter M. So looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly that we've had. So some of the real ugly ones to start with. That we had Marcus Maddison on our books a few years ago, and everyone was quite excited by that one when he joined. But a couple of games later, he clearly had some personal issues going on. He wasn't happy. Out he went, and he's since been banged up in jail for horrible crime. So not a nice bloke. We also had the guy who looked like the painting from Ghostbusters 2 in Simon Mackinock, who is probably the tallest guy who can't jump, absolutely useless in front of goal, and couldn't score for toffee. And then everyone's favourite, Isel McLeod as well, who just was absolutely hopeless, came for $1 million soon after we got relegated from the Premier League. And again, was way above his pay grade when he joined us. Some of the other bad ones that we've had, Conor McGrandles from recent times, Paddy McCarthy as well. We signed a centre-back. He couldn't do it. He went off to Palace, did okay there. And Yassin Moutakil, who again, French fullback who looked great and then just fell off a cliff. But some of the real good guys that we've had, there's also a few of those. Now, we mentioned him a bit earlier, Alfie May, pretty much kept us single-handedly. That's a couple of seasons ago with all the goals that he got. Going back to the 80s, guy called Jim Melrose, who scored a few goals for us up front. And one of our regulars on the Charlton broadcasting team, Scott Minto, fabulous fullback in his day, fabulous defender. Quite rarely got his move to Chelsea when he did. But the real one-star man, I think, and everyone can agree with, is Super Clive Mendonca. 45 goals in 96 games for the club, including that hat-trick at Wembley in the 4-4 draw with Sunderland that got us eventually promoted to the Premier League for the first time. Absolutely, if there was one man that you wanted in front of goal with the ball at his feet, it was Super Clive. He knew where the goal was. He was touch bang. He could score goals from all sorts of angles, and he stepped up to the Premier League with absolutely no problem. Hat trick on his first home game in the Premier League against Southampton, and again, if it wasn't for a relatively naive and weak team that we had in the Premier League for that first season, we could have stayed up with his goals. but came down again. He still scored some more when we had him and Andy Hunt up front. And sadly, injuries curtailed his career in the end. But what a player he was, and probably one of my favourite players when I look back at supporting Charlton as a young lad.
Brilliant, Steve. Brilliant. Well done, mate. Well done. Right. Now we're on to a tweet of the week to finish, and we've obviously we touched on a lot today. We have touched on this, and the tweet reads: "It's from a Charlton fan. It goes from pushing playoffs to a relegation battle. Oh dear." I know a few of you have had your say on whether you're fearing relegation. Timsy, you haven't. What are you thinking? Made you think it's looming? Do you think you can stay away from that area?
I think there's enough in the team to stay in. Now, my major concern is the manager, as I've clearly stated. And if there's fraction within the team and the team is not believing in the manager, that's when we have a serious issue. And where a change of manager, no matter who it is, if it just gets the team back together, that's what would matter. Now, that all depends on what's going on behind the scenes, which will be evident in our next game. If we lose our next game, and my prediction for the next game is a 5-0 Tonkin with a new manager game for Leicester.
Not optimistic there, Timsy?
Yeah. Just reality at the moment after yesterday. I can see the writings on the board, and I think that will be the point of we would be fighting relegation if we don't pick up a performance, not really a result, but a performance on Saturday. Then I think relegation's on the board. If we can have a performance, something we can carry into our next game, and start gelling and being a unit again, like we were at the start of the season, and moving in that direction, then yeah, no doubt relegation is definitely looming. Next game is that performance.
This next couple of days of transfers. That's one that's key for me. This week's massive. Defenders needing definitely, and midfielder definitely.
Yeah, it's a big week. There's no doubt about it. There's the questions over Nathan Jones, the questions with the transfer window. It's going to be a big week, and let's hope we can finish with 3 points against Leicester and not Timsy's prediction of 5-0. So thank you guys for a great conversation. I hope you feel a little bit more distressed after that chat. You've done really well. Thank you everybody for watching at home. Please like and subscribe, and please get involved in the comments below. Do you think Nathan Jones is out?